Hello, this is a prepaid collect call from
Dante.
An inmate at the Jackson Correctional Institution. All calls, other than properly placed attorney calls, may be monitored and recorded. To accept charges, press 1. To refuse charges, press 2.
If you would like to permanently block your number from receiving calls from this facility, press
6.
for balance and rate quotes, press
7. Thank you for using
CenturyLink.
You may start the conversation now.
This is the Incarcerate U.S. podcast. I'm your host, Dante Cottingham, and this morning I'm speaking to Miss April McFarling Segura. She's an activist who believes that a woman's place is in the resistance, and she's a volunteer with multiple prisoner reentry programs in Nebraska. How are you doing this morning, sister?
Hello, good morning.
I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank you for taking the time this morning to have this discussion. I've been looking forward to talking to you.
Yeah, of course. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I have some questions for you. But before I get to those questions, please tell us a little bit about the reintegration program and the work you do with it.
Sure. So the reintegration program is a program that a church here in town started, and basically there's different classes that are offered to inmates at a work release center, and we take them out on a path to the church and then give different classes to them. And there's both ladies and men at different churches. So that is one thing that we're doing here in Lincoln, Nebraska to help the prison system. It's just a small thing.
Okay. And what kind of classes, to help them, know how to do bills or what kind of classes?
Yeah, each semester, each time that we have it is kind of different because it depends also on who has signed up for the program. But first of all, they're biblical based, so they're based on God, of course. That's first and foremost. But then we have a variety. So my last class that I taught was the 5 love languages, which is a relationship kind of class, which was amazing just to get different perspectives from the guys. But yeah, there are also, as you said, life skills. That's a very popular class, which that one deals with kind of everything. There is a 12-step program, which is the Christian 12-step. There's a grief share. So there's just a variety of different classes that are offered, and it's different, like I said, each time that we do it because of who's signing up and everything.
Okay. Is there a certain criteria for entry?
In that, they just sign up, and like I said, it's through the work release program here, so of course they would have to be at it's a work release center, and so they would have to be there, and then they sign up, and then they get approved, and it's a fairly easy process, but they do have to sign up, and then every week they have to sign up for a pass to get them out. And so there is a process, but on our end we try to make it as simple as we can to get more people involved.
And for the brothers and sisters that's listening in Nebraska, what's the location?
Yeah, well, this is out of the Northern Lighthouse Church for the female, and then the Hope Community Church for the male campus. But it's all through the Northern Lighthouse Church. Now, I don't personally go to church there, but I have made connections there, and so they are doing a lot of prison ministry directly through that church. So the Northern Lighthouse Church would be where you would go to get more information on that, and that's for anybody that is out here. It's on North 14th Street, just outside of Lincoln, Nebraska.
Okay. And I'll put a lot of information along with this podcast too for anybody that's in the area if they need some assistance. And it's also my understanding that you work with auto charity as well. What kind of charity is that, and what kind of work do you do with them?
Yeah, and that's the same. It's through the same church, and so they have this program set up for inmates at the work release center that can go out and volunteer and help fix cars at a very low price. And it's really donation, and so it is an awesome program. It gets the guys out, it gets them working, it gets them feeling good about themselves because they're doing something, and they're in this church community. And then what we do, there's a group of us that take turns different Saturdays, and then we'll cook them a meal, and that way they get to go out and work on cars and everything, and in return they're getting a home cooked meal, which as you know, it's
it's a big deal.
Huge treat.
That's a big deal. Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, and you help with the cooking as well.
I do. Yeah, I started out about a year and a half ago, and just was filling in here and there when they needed me, but it's something that I love to do. And recently, they needed somebody to take over kind of organizing it, and so just coordinating the meals, who's going to do it. So I said I'd take that on, so I'm trying to organize, who's doing what week. It's not very much, but it helps get me a little bit more involved, and it's just something that I want to be doing more.
Well, it sounds like a great idea. And especially with the cooking, we need to get that in Wisconsin as soon as possible. But it's my understanding also that, let me just say this. I think most Americans have been impacted by mass incarceration either directly or indirectly. So how has mass incarceration affected you?
Absolutely. I first of all agree with you 100%, whether they know it or not. I didn't know it 4 years ago. I didn't know it. But then September 6th of 2013 is when my husband got arrested, and that obviously affected me right away. Personally, actually, we were separated at the time for 2.5 years, but I was the first person to be called, and we reconciled, and we've been together ever since. But just being involved in the system, it is crazy. It affects our children. It affects me. It affects him, all of us. So it's crazy. I just had no idea the effects of the prison system. I feel like the people that it affects the most are the children. There's so many that have parents incarcerated, and there's not a whole lot of programs for them. There's not a lot of help. I look at my own children. They have all these emotional needs that I can't meet. I try to talk to them about things, but there's just nowhere they can go to really express their feelings. A feeling of I don't really have a dad. Where's my dad? They know him. They know where he is, but there's this whole realm of, things missing for these children.
And I can definitely relate to that. I've been incarcerated now for 22 years, and when I came to prison, my daughter had just been, she was born when I was in the county jail in this case. So she's 21 now. So I've been in prison ever since she's been alive. So that's definitely something I can relate to. When policymakers are enacting these laws that kind of assist and accommodate mass incarceration, well, what do you think they should know about your struggle as a mother of 3 and as a wife of an incarcerated man? What do you think they need to know that they're missing? Because I think a lot of times policymakers, they enact policies unempathetically. They're not connected to these problems. They're not connected to these issues, so they don't know specifically how devastating they can be. But if you could talk to them and tell them, what would you say to them? What would you say as it relates regarding your struggle? What do you think they need to know?
Yeah, I think there's so much, first of all, and sometimes for me personally, even the small things, there is so much. I mean, bills, yes, but besides bills, besides our regular everyday bills just keep in communication with our loved ones. It's insanely expensive to keep in touch. A prison phone call, my husband is 15 hours away in Mississippi, and the phone call is right now $3.87 for 15 minutes. Now, I just was able to get my number switched over to a Mississippi number, so when that goes through, it'll be a lot cheaper, but I mean, it's ridiculous. So just to have these basic communications.
And that's a
and I
big
think
deal
that's,
for sure. That's a huge
it is,
deal.
absolutely. And he doesn't have email, as some places do. And so just for, like, a small bit of communication, like, it's so hard. Luckily, I live in a community where, like, I'm really well loved and supported, and people have helped me with stamps and envelopes, and so a lot of those expenses, like, people have helped me with, so I'm able to write him enough, at least on my end. But then, there's always that, the lingering, have to pay Securus or whatever, whatever phone company we're with. So, yeah, it's crazy. And that is one thing I agree with, like, lawmakers, they're so disconnected, and even judges, they're so disconnected on this subject. The judge sentences somebody, but they have no idea then what's really happening. And that's one thing that I personally have wrote to lawmakers to try to tell them about some of these things, that it's hard, besides just your daily bills, but you're also supporting all this other stuff.
And that's definitely the main motivation for us creating this podcast. It's to go all around the country and get a perspective from different people that's got different struggles, and bring them all together under one umbrella and say, look, this is our challenges, these are our struggles. We need for policymakers, we need for them to respect what we're going through, and we need for America to know exactly what the circumstances is. So I have tremendous respect for your energy in taking this time to come on here and talk, because it's a big deal. And thank you for coming. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've always, ever since he became incarcerated, I've always felt, like it's a really, really hard and frustrating situation. And I could sit in my own, I'm so frustrated, but I've always believed, like, God has placed us here for a reason, and if I can help somebody else in any way during this, like, that is what it's about. And so for me, like, I want to be that voice in as much as I can, especially to them and to you guys who don't have much of a voice. People are refusing to hear your voice, and so it is, just such an honor, like, to be able to talk to you and to see that there are, people trying so hard to make change. I just think it's amazing.
And the beautiful thing about that is, and we've seen this, there's so many different stories, like, throughout American history, where small groups of people came together and moved the mountain. And I have tremendous faith in that ability, and we fight every day to make it happen. And so I want you to know that you can count us as a friend, and I'd like to invite you back. Anytime anything happens, if you have anything that you want to discuss or you want people to know, please come back and talk to us. So let me ask you one more question before we get off of here. Like you said, you're very familiar with mass incarceration. It's touching you. It's touched you very intimately. It's a very personal thing for you, as it is for a lot of people around the country. But when you look at it from your position, what do you believe? What do you believe reform look like? What do you think are the first steps to changing this in the United States? And I like to ask people this question because I like to get as many different perspectives on the solution as possible. From your point, what do you think the solution is here?
Yeah, I wish there was, like, an easy solution, but I personally believe, like anything, when you want change, it starts one person at a time. So just by me and, like, my conversations, and our conversations, small conversations with friends, I believe all of that, is going to eventually make change. I know that we need some bigger changes, in Washington and in the prison system, but until we can get that, we have to get the communities involved. We have to get people.
All calls other than properly placed attorney calls may be monitored and recorded.
Please continue.
Okay, and just getting more people aware of what's going on, I believe that is a huge step, which is why I am so outspoken on what I believe on it, because I have no fear. People can think what they want about me and my husband and about our situation, about his situation, but people need to know. People need to know.
But I mean, it's like it's over 2.3 million people incarcerated right now. So if you add on to like the family members and the friends of those people incarcerated, it's millions upon millions upon millions of people in the United States that's affected. So that's like that's a big army. That's a large section of people. And united with all of those people, I mean, there's really nothing that we can't accomplish. So yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Awareness is a big deal.
Yes, absolutely. You know, and then what's frustrating on that, you know, that number, like when you think about the disproportion of blacks and Hispanics in there, and my husband, he's Hispanic, and, you know, a lot of the guys he's with, like, they don't have somebody who's able to, like, vocalize, you know, what they're going through because they're scared, too, because they're not from here. And so that is a whole another frustration for me, just, like, being, you know, trying to be that voice because I can, because I am, you know, for them.
Indeed.
So,
Indeed. And you have a very articulate voice, and I say this: mass incarceration is a very, very like disgusting monster. No question about that. However, it's made less horrible because of people with your heart and with your mind. So I want to thank you again for taking the time this morning and speaking to me and being so honest and being so blunt and having that spirit that resists spirit. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you.
Well, absolutely. No, thank you. I am very honored to be here, and thank you so much for what you're doing. I think it's great, you know, and it's awesome and really a blessing to be able to talk to you. So thank you so much.
Thank you. So this is Dante signing off with the Incarcerate U.S. podcast, and this is the place where all of our voices come together.
The caller has hung up.